Okay, so here we are in my little tent garage. Put this up last year for various projects, as you can see, go-karts, 68 Beetles, you know. This is my 68 Beetle, which I've taken the last year to restore. I've rebuilt the engine, I've painted it, I've done all the chrome over, I've put new wheels on it, new tires. The whole interior is brand new from SoFine. Front dashboard is all redone. I didn't use the padded dash on this one. I decided to paint it because I like the look of it better. It looks more like a 67. Used all the ivory knobs. The shift knob I actually made out of a piece of Corian, which I do for a living. Make countertops. Made the shift knob out of that, kind of matches. Let's see, what else do we do on this car? Yeah, I got the old roof rack for it, EMPI. No, that's not EMPI, that's from J-Bugs. That's from Foreign Concepts, that's who makes that. Very nice piece. Not custom made, but one of a kind, all made separately. Rebuilt the engine, put some 87 pistons in it, and turned it up to about a 1641 cc. Put an external oil cooler in it, which now it has an oil filter, which is over there. 90 amp alternator, EMP alternator. So I have a lot of electrical stuff in there that's extra. Needs a little bit more power. What else did I do in there? Not much. Engine runs very well. Very, very nice running engine. Over here, if you look through the back window, you can see the exterior oil cooler, which is under that fan right there. That piece of PVC is a fresh air intake, and then the air exits down below that fan past the oil cooler. Another electrical device that needs more power. Which brings me to the reason I made the video here, was to show you the amended electrical system that I put in the car. Take you in through the driver's side here. Also underneath the dash here we have a aftermarket electric heater, and that uses about 40 amps of power once it's on. I got full gauges in the car now. I did not go with the grills next to the speedometer. I have a cylinder head temp gauge, a voltmeter, an oil PSI meter, RPMs, and an analog clock underneath that. Over here we've got stereo, and that's made by EMPI, I believe. It's made to look like the old-fashioned AM radios, when in fact it's a modern stereo. I don't know how many watts it is, but it sounds really good. Below it I got a Sirius module for Sirius radio. The red button is for the windshield washer pump. It does not use the spare tire pressure. That is the hazard switch over there. Above the hazard, that's just a dummy knob because I had nothing to put there. That is the light switch next to it. As I come up, I have got the oil cooler fan switch. That's for that oil cooler behind the back seat. That is the brake test light button, which I don't use. It's not hooked up. That over there is the windshield wipers, and I believe that's all for the dashboard. I'm going to come around to the front here and show you what I did underneath, because originally I had put in the factory fuse panel, the fuse bar that they give you that you can buy, and it was installed underneath the dashboard where it should be. But I ended up with a horrible rat's nest of wires underneath the dash here. Actually had a short in one of the wires, in one of the circuits, that toasted my nice alternator in the back there. So I ripped everything out and I redid the whole electrical system, as you guys can see here. It takes up a good part of the hood underneath here. There's a piece of plywood that I laid in there first. I siliconed in there so nothing is touching with metal. It's 2 feet long and it's 1 foot wide. It's got a little notch over on the end there to clear for the glove box. But you can see the various components that I used. I'll point these out. These are the 2 new fuse bus bars here. There's 2 of them. This right hand one has 8 places. The left hand one is the same one with 8 places. This is for lower amperage devices. This side is for higher amperage devices. They take the glass fuses of various amps. I like the glass fuses. They're spaced out. I can actually pull them in and out easily. It's just far superior to the original. This here is the 9-pin directional hazard box, all wired up nice and neatly. Over here, this little bus bar here is the 24-hour 12-volt panel here for stereo, dome light, whatever else you need on 24 hours 12 volt. That one over there is the negative bus bar where I run all the negatives to, and then it's got one connection to the frame of the car down there on that bolt. So everything is neatly run into there. Above this, I've got my headlight relay, and next to it I have a headlight relay that's only for turning on the main headlights. It does not work for the parking lights. And above that is just another 4-place, actually it's a 6-place fuse panel for just headlights, so it's dedicated to just headlights over here. Everything came out really nicely doing it this way. I heard a guy on the internet, not the internet, on YouTube, who did the similar project say the thing you've got to do is extend all your wires first in order to do this project, which is the absolute truth. All the wires that came out of my wiring harness, which is over here, I had to cut and extend, custom make things using multiple female disconnects, which are these things here, multiple ring terminals, wire ties, zip ties, clamps, just all sorts of stuff just to make the job easier. I prefer using the piece of wood, which is a piece of 3/4 plywood, because it's very easy to attach things to, and it's non-conductive. After I did all the electrical, what I did was overlaid a piece of plexiglass on this, which you can see my hand on. I don't know if you can see the plexiglass, but it stands on these copper standoffs here, which is just a piece of 1/2-inch copper, and I epoxied a oak dowel into the middle of these. So there's 6 for the pull thing. There's 2 on this side, there's 2 in the middle, and there's 2 over on that end. So there's 6 screws that hold the plexiglass on very solidly. So if any water was ever to come out of this guy here, which also I modified, I cut the bottom half off of this thing. It was just too much, it was too low, and I waterproofed this section of it so it's a lot less obtrusive, and I can actually see the back of my stereo now. I can see all the wiring, and then I ran the drain line off of it with a new shark fitting, which is here, and then it goes to the clear hose and out the car. This is obviously the place where the water comes through the grill on the hood. So even if water was to leak out of this, it would hit the plexiglass and run straight down. None of the electronics or the wiring would get wet. It's a process that took me probably, I'm gonna guess, about 40 to 50 hours doing it over and doing it this way, and I highly recommend it. Anything you do like this where it could turn into a mess, a rat's nest, you're better off doing this way, neatening stuff, having stuff easily identifiable, separating stuff a little bit, and it just makes for a cleaner install and a little more peace of mind. I feel good about all the electric now. There are no shorts. I can actually see the back of my dashboard. I can see the speedometer. I can change bulbs easier, etc., etc. So that's it. I just wanted to take this time, kind of show everybody what I did. And there's like another guy on the YouTube that did the same thing, if not similar, which I took a lot of ideas from and thought he had a great idea doing this also. So anyways, thanks for looking. Have a good day. Bye.